heading towards mid-October 2018, and which is approximately 10 weeks into the new academic year, or this academic year 2018 or 19. And in this particular period, most colleges are particularly looking at their numbers, number crunching, looking at enrollments, looking at how the year pans ahead in terms of their funding and really projecting that. For independent training providers, it's slightly different. We are number crunching, but number crunching in a slightly different way. And obviously independent training providers tend to have a roll-on, roll-off system in terms of apprenticeships and other activity, but the number crunching that we're all going to be doing is really finishing our year end, what the hard close looks like and what we call hard close in the sector. So we've just had our R13. We're now going into a period where finalising the data, looking at tweaking any sort of changes that are needed, and just it's an element of sort of really reconciliation, an element of really fine-tuning that data. And I think most providers would have sort of started their SAR process, self-assessment review process for the year end, and they'll be sort of looking to see where the year end actually does finish for them. I would say most providers would have some sort of indication where they're likely to project, but it's just really getting to that sort of final number, and so it's really number crunching, working out their ratios, working out their percentages, working out their sort of achievement rates, their success rates, timeliness, and so forth. In the funded skills sector, we've had the biggest round of procurement, and this procurement is ESF funding. It's probably likely to be the last round of ESF funding, obviously with Brexit taking place, but it's been a huge round of opportunity, huge round of activity. £360 million has been out to tender, out in the marketplace, and the complexity that's been involved in this round of funding, this round of ESF, has been unlike any others in my experience. The amount of work that's been involved, the amount of effort that's gone in, it's been really, for most providers, I would say, a huge team effort. There was an element of threshold constraints that restricted a lot of people considering to going in as lead, as primes. Ourselves included, we decided at this stage that we weren't going to go in as a lead provider. We chose specifically, deliberately, to go down the route of partnership work, looking to enhance other providers' bids, looking to add value in other providers' bids, rather than looking to build a supply chain or a consortia ourselves. We did consider the lead option, the prime option, but we thought there was more opportunities and a greater potential if we were to be named in other providers' bids. So that's the route that we chose, and that's the route that I would say, because of the constraints and the complexities that were involved, most independent training providers, and in some cases a lot of colleges, chose that route as well. And particularly bearing in mind that in each area there is only going to be one winner. So that was a big sort of a deciding factor for us as well. So despite what I've said, I think most people have probably sort of perceived it as all their Christmases rolled into one. It is a huge amount of opportunity, huge amount of potential, and if an independent training provider or of a college was successful, and we're going to hear in a few months' time, we're going to hear in January with rollout in April next year, 2019. It's a huge leverage for those providers to actually use that as a platform to grow. There was something for everybody in this particular round of funding, something for people that worked in the B2B sector, for the unemployed sector, and also for the NEETs. The B2B being the skill support for workforce, the unemployed being skill support for unemployed, and obviously the NEET contracts as well. So, but there's something for everybody, something for all parties to sort of consider, and particularly if you were able to come in on a supply chain, I think there's an opportunity there. Yes, it is short-term thing. It is short-term funding, but in this day and age, getting even a period of 18 months of consistency and 18 months of substantial funding, it's a significant period. So we were all for it. I know of some providers thinking that it's not part of their longer term strategy, and they decided to sort of opt out. But ourselves, we chose the option of partnership work. and we're looking forward to hearing who the winners are and what what the successes are. So if you are a winner, it will enhance and it will add credibility to your track record. It'll build on your track record, and more importantly, it's effectively allows you to do layer cake funding. It allows you to add and enhance the service that you're offering, promote, and do more. Do more. I think for me that's the thing. It allows you to offer more, it allows you to deliver more, and allows you effectively to gain more from it. And I think there's no other round of funding that does that. I think you can sort of tail end AEB delivery to it. You can work with AEB delivery for unemployed, so you can bespoke programs, mix and match. Qualifications are unregulated with regulated, with getting the job outcomes that are out there, getting the progression routes that are out there, and it becomes an element where you can actually mix and match, fine tune, and bespoke your programs and deliver more value. More value to the clients, and also, as I said, it's a fantastic leverage and a platform to offer to an employer. If you can offer that to an employer alongside the other funding streams that are out there, alongside apprenticeships, traineeships, it's a win-win for all. The next round of funding that's going to likely to replace the ESF is going to be called the Prosperity Fund. That's what the working title at the moment is, but that's a long way away. Funding in this particular sector has changed quite considerably. We've started back in the day when I came into the sector, it was very much core funding. Then we went to sort of a grant funding process, then very much about project-based funding. Now we're moving into a different area now where it's very much regionalized, very much even working out particular sort of client groups that you're working with. So really, a lot of the commissioning that's out there is really sharpshooting, very, very much targeting exact and specific client groups. And there's going to be more of that, more localization, more sort of working out specific client groups that the commissioners want to target, want to attract, and want to sort of get benefit from this round of funding. So there's going to be much more of that type of activity. So whether it's hard to help, hard to reach, or rapid response type of activity, I can see there's more of that to come. So there's going to be very specific restrictions with regard to where you can deliver, who you can deliver to, and there's going to be certain protocols. And there's going to be, as I said, much more of that. So whether you're targeting specific areas, whether you're going to be targeting specific customers, that is going to be the norm going forward. With the localism and localness as part of everything that we do. The AEB devolution is the most exciting game changer in the funding sector that's about to happen. We all know that AEB nationally is going to be reduced quite significantly. It's going down to localisms with devolution taking place. Each devolved area with devolved powers is looking to tender at a local level. Most providers have probably now have worked out how they're going to be impacted. It's going to definitely be reduced nationally. So, and the cutoff point we're most aware of, it's the last sort of academic year, and most people are able to work from their number crunching that we spoke about earlier. How they're impacted, how much of their funding have they spent in those devolved areas, how much have they spent in other national areas, and as a proportion of their national total contract, how much of that is going to be reduced, and how much of that will they have to sort of retender and look at that. So us as Pathway Group, we've also done that exercise. It's an exercise that's fairly easy to do, but it's you've got to look at certain numbers. You've got to work out how as a percentage that's going to be affected, and we being a West Midlands player are going to be significantly affected, particularly the fact that it's coming from our one national contract and we'll have to retender that. So there's going to be other providers where they've tendered in regions outside the devolved economies, they're probably they're going to have less impact. It is a funding stream which will be reduced nationally. There's no doubt about that. Most organisations, as I said, will be significantly impacted. The only way to gain is by local tendering, which is going to be with looking at the localisms, the processes, marketing out your niche, and really combining that and demonstrating the employer links. But on a longer term basis, AEB generally isn't seen as a long term thing. It's been replaced quite significantly. It will be replaced, I think, more by traineeships and T-level qualifications. So I think they're seen more as a priority here rather than general AEB. So there's a huge sort of shift of change there. But just going back to ESF and ESF funding, the past winners are no longer earmarked for winning in each area. So I think it's an opportunity for new providers to get in. It's an opportunity for providers to sort of own that region. And there's been a sort of a move away from providers who are sort of favourites in a particular area. If I give you an example, and I normally don't name particular providers, but Staffordshire is an area where it's always been sort of Stoke-on-Trent College who've been the winners, but recently other providers have come in and they've actually gone in and demonstrated the fact that they can deliver significant value, and it's really up for grabs for anybody. So it's no longer the case, I think, for certain favourites to be earmarked or certain favourites to be sort of you're thinking certain people are going to be winning in a particular area. I think there's going to be surprises. I'm sure of it. I'm sure there's going to be moments where we're thinking, how has this provider got in this particular area? Or you might find some old favourites have come back where they've been out of the market. So again, looking forward to seeing what the results are in January. We're a few months away, but looking forward to seeing where we are. So generally, in this particular sector, the competition is getting tougher. Procurement is getting more difficult. It's a lot more effort, a lot more time. It's long gone are the days where you can cut and paste and have bid banks and you can just work on a tender. Particularly if you've had experience and successful tenders before. It's very much about research based. It's very much about teamwork. There is a lot of preparatory work that goes in. And I would suggest to most providers, particularly who are affected by AEB devolution, like ourselves, to start doing the work for AEB, start looking at obviously whatever work that you're able to do, particularly in terms of your sort of differentiations, your wins, your case studies, and any work that you're able to do which you feel that will enhance your tender whenever the tender opportunities are coming in the near future. So in terms of the next few months, looking forward to these tenders to be released, looking forward to finding out results of ESF. A huge opportunity for any provider that is able to be a winner in this particular round. So a lot of exciting times ahead.
Thanks for watching. As we say, everything starts with a conversation. So let's talk. Pathway Group, changing lives through skills and work.